Hello, movie patient, and welcome to Film Therapy. I am your film therapist, also known as Brienne, also known as Miss Movies. And every time on Film Therapy, we have a special guest because that's how this show works. And my special guest today is Ken Napzok. Hey, Ken Napzok. We are here. Hello. Hi.
Hey, how you doing? It seems weird being introduced in my own house,
I know, right?
but we're here behind the nerd wall. We're ready to go. Thanks
It's
for
kind of,
having me.
hey, thank you for
Yeah,
letting me come over to your
yeah.
house. And I
Look
like
at
that we
this
have a
blank
background.
space. I got it. This is normally where the door is. Please forgive
Okay.
me.
So we'll
Sorry.
have to fill that at some point. But for mine, it's like at my kitchen table and there's like a poster.
Right.
Usually it's like a different poster each time.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it's kind of nice to have different accoutrements.
these toys stay the same.
But, well, I've never seen them. So it's all new to me
Oh,
and
well,
probably new to everyone else as
yeah,
well.
I'm sure they can guess.
All right. So here's how the show works this is a storytelling show. Basically, I ask each guest three questions, the same three questions each week, in hopes that people are going to be telling me different stories. I figure everyone's different. They all have different ways of
Absolutely.
which film is related in their life.
Are we going to work through some things?
Maybe it depends on how you decided to take the questions.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah.
Um, so the three questions are: what is a movie that inspires you? What is a movie that, or a scene from a movie that triggers a memory? Perhaps it's a painful memory, or it could be a happy memory. Who
Mhm.
knows? Um, and what is a movie that's helped you through difficult times? So those are the three questions. I do want to remind people that are watching that I am not a real therapist. I am not a doctor. And if you need to see a doctor, please do that or call 911 or go to your local hospital. It's important. I mean, our title is film therapy.
Yeah, I
There's
guess it can
therapy
be
in the
confusing.
title.
Dial 911 for a therapist?
Well, if you have issues
Well,
and you
yeah,
need
absolutely.
someone, like if you feel there's a problem,
They'll guide you to the right source.
yes.
I agree.
So there it is. I have to cover my bases.
I know you
I
do.
don't want anyone
Legally.
to be like, you know what?
I get it. I get it.
And that's it.
I'm not looking at your
You
notepad.
know what? I have my notes because sometimes I forget things and I
No,
just
no,
want to make sure
not
that.
making fun of the notes. I'm not cheating and looking at the
Okay,
notes.
got it. Thank you. Excellent.
Let's
So,
do it.
Ken,
Yeah.
before we actually answer the questions, why
Mhm.
don't you tell people? I'm sure everyone that's watching knows who you are, but there could be some patients out there that don't know who you are.
Sure.
So
You want me
I
to
figured
describe
you should
myself?
give a soliloquy to
I'm an
the
I'm an
audience.
average man with a stupid ponytail who's trying to prove something to his 20-year-old self that he can still grow it. I am a producer and occasional on-air personality over at Screen Junkies for Defy Media, former producer of the Schmoes Know Movie Show, referred to sometimes affectionately as the Pit Boss, where I am also their anchor nerd and cover the movie news.
Very nice. We normally bring up the chat when we do this
Mm.
show. So I apologize to those that are in the chat because we won't be interacting with you as we normally might because the screen is actually much farther away than I had known it to be. So therefore, I can't read that far. My
I can
eyesight
read
isn't
that
great.
far.
Well,
I
if
could
you want
try.
to, we can try to
We could
pull it
try.
up.
We could try.
Okay.
You can
This
pull it up.
if I'm going to pull it
I'll
up.
vamp for a minute.
Yes, you
But
vamp.
hey
That's what
guys,
we
how you
need.
doing? Welcome to my nerd cave here. We've got some Star Wars Legos. We've got a Gary Carter starting lineup. We got a Gilligan's Island figure here too, and we've got a George Harrison. We also got a Black Series speeder bike with Biker Scout. These are very valuable to me personally, as well as to the toy marketplace. We also we have far too many toys here too. I think you could do something about the toys. All right, see, I can see it. I can lean forward. My face can lean forward. Yeah, there we go. See, people are saying things already. Shop Girl's going to come up, and that's complete. Shop Girl's not on my list today. Nope, nope.
What?
All right, here we go.
Here we go.
Here we go. I can read it.
Thank you for vamping
Yeah,
for us, and hello to those that are in the chat.
yeah.
I'm glad you can read it because I can't. Because my eyesight is terrible. I'll
Mine's
have
not
you
the
know
best, but
this.
I have my eyeballs in. So
You have what?
my eyeballs,
Okay,
my
I'm
my
sorry.
my
I
contacts.
I could not. I'm sorry. All right,
All right,
that went very differently than I thought it was going to
it
go.
went.
So good,
We're here. We're
excellent.
live.
All right, let's get into our first question,
Okay.
which is, what is a movie, Ken, that inspires you?
So here's the thing. I tried to really try to have a different answer for you than what people might think, but I also wanted to answer honestly.
Okay.
And I I have a weird fascination with movies that anti-inspire me. So if
Okay.
I'm feeling kind of sad, I'm going to put
Uh-huh.
in a movie that makes me feel sadder or more sad.
Oh, okay.
I don't like to be uplifted a lot
Hmm.
by movies.
All right.
It's a problem, but there's movies that do. Now, as my toys would indicate, I'm very much a fantasy epic guy.
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars falls in that category, Indiana Jones. But those aren't my answers.
Okay.
Star Wars inspires me in a different way, kind of an overall childlike kind of inspiration. And also, it's a world I can immerse myself in and talk ad nauseum about and collect all the toys, all the jokes aside. That all means a lot to me. But I don't ever find myself kind of down today or kind of needs inspiration. I'm going to put in Star Wars. If
Mm-hmm.
I'm feeling that, I put in Return of the King.
Okay.
Number three from the Lord of the Rings original
Mm-hmm.
trilogy, not The Hobbit. The Hobbit doesn't inspire me in
Right.
any way, shape, or form. Now, Two Towers is my favorite movie of those.
That one's my favorite as
Yeah,
well.
Two Towers. It's like The Empire,
Mm-hmm.
obviously the second, but Return of the King is more inspirational. So that's my answer.
Okay. And you have to have a specific amount of time of which to be inspired by this because that
Yeah,
is a journey.
and I'll usually watch the extended edition,
Oh,
which
that
two
is
discs, 4 hours or whatever it is.
so 4 days is what you're taking to watch this inspirational
No,
tale.
I'll put them all, put it all in generally in one day.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. I can barely watch a 100-minute movie in one sitting at this point.
Well, but you also have two young children,
Uh,
and I'm sure that keeps you from sitting down and investing in a movie that's 4 hours long.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's true.
that's
I really did try last night
yeah,
to finish a movie. Well, first of all, I had to finish a movie that I needed to finish from the night before, which
sure.
was X-Men Apocalypse.
Oh,
And I was like, "Oh, I still have 40 minutes left of this. That's a long time. Like this should have ended right now." But then and then I started The Invitation and I still need to finish that. So, you know,
you'll get there.
I'll get
You'll
there.
get there.
Baby
Yeah,
steps.
baby steps with babies.
Oh, it's rough, guys. My life is,
So hard, so
so
hard.
hard to do what I do. But is there a specific character that like is the one that's like, oh yeah, I like you, guy with a ponytail.
Yeah. So if you follow me in any kind of length of time on social media or shows, you know that I have the market cornered on self-loathing, self-doubt, self-deprecating humor, and it's a problem. But so whereas in Game of Thrones, I like some of the older crusty guys, or Sir
Hmm.
Jorah Mormont, the guy forever on the sidelines,
Yes.
blah 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 blah.
Is he going to turn to Stone Man?
Right. No, he won't actually. I
Okay.
believe he won't.
Okay.
But in Return of the King, and I got to say, it is a connection for me to Aragorn.
I'm not surprised by this.
Why is that?
I just feel like see you in that character.
Okay, I'll take that.
Okay.
Not just the beard.
No.
Okay. Um, he is the hero of the series in a way.
Mhm.
Frodo, Sam, the hobbits are definitely the heroes as well. Everyone in the Fellowship is the heroes, but it really kind of does. There's a journey that Aragorn goes through, going from Strider to taking his place as the king of
Mhm.
Gondor and returning and kind of facing what he has to do to come that. So with me, all jokes aside about self-loathing and self-doubt, I suffer from a lot of that too, where a lot of my career didn't take off sooner than I thought it would be, or didn't go the direction I thought it would, and some of the things I was
Mhm.
interested in because I played small and I played my career behind a wall of fear and doubt. And there were times in my life where it was about the key moment in the scene where in the movie I feel is where he is told you got to put aside the ranger and become who you were born to be. You're the king of Gondor, and only the king of Gondor can go and claim the army of the dead and turn the tide in this victory. And that scene itself connects with me greatly. And I'll sometimes just skip to that scene, maybe
Mhm.
bring it up on YouTube if I just need that kick in the ass to kind of remind myself I'm not doing anyone any favors by playing small. And that is an inspirational scene. Overall, the movie's got some great inspiration. You can tie into some of the big epic stuff that epics and fantasy epics do so well. The Ride of the Rohirrim is that charge, and the king giving his big Braveheart speech.
Mhm.
It's an amazing inspirational moment, and when you're up against the odds, and even if you're little, if you're a woman in a time where they're not going to let you fight, you're going to sneak in and you're going to do it, and you're going to end up taking down the Nazgul. You're gonna, there's that kind of big general inspiration in that movie, but really at the end of the day, I focus on that one little moment with Aragorn, who's been our hero the whole time
Mhm.
and is prepared to march into battle, but he's told, "Oh, you march to war, but not to victory." In order to win, you've got to become the thing that you have feared for the longest time, which is who you're supposed to be. And that ties in deep to me, and a lot of my failings over the last 20 years are based in that kind of fear of your own greatness, right?
Yeah.
I'm inspired. I'm going to go watch it right now.
We're going to currently stop this podcast and we'll get back to you in about
Get back to you in
4
4 hours.
days. Awesome. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to let's just go into the next question then,
Okay, we can come back. We
because
can
I like
jump
Lord
around.
of the Rings a lot.
Yeah,
I feel like Lord of the Rings is something that I needs to come back into my life. Like I haven't had enough Lord of the
let it
Rings.
return to you now. Let it
So
return to you now at the turning of the tide.
it's like I saw them in theaters and own them, but haven't like watched in a while.
Set
So
aside 4 weeks and watch
yes.
one of them
Just little bits at a
and get back to it.
time.
Get back to it.
Are you Westworld? Is that something for you?
I did not like the first episode of Westworld and haven't watched since.
Okay. I've heard the second episode, people have said that the second episode is what probably should have been the first episode because it actually like gives you background that you would
Maybe.
generally need.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it all at some point. I'm not writing it off at all. Too many people I know and respect love it,
Hmm.
so that always gives me pause. Gives me pause to be like, all right, maybe I'm not, maybe I didn't see
Okay.
it right, but I did,
Uh-huh.
I did not like, I didn't. It's beautifully stunning. It's all those things. I was bored out of my mind and didn't
Okay.
care about any of the characters. I don't connect with robot characters because you're not
How
you're
do you
not real.
connect with a robot? I
I
mean,
just
just
you're
in
not real. I
general.
don't care. And
Uh-huh.
so yeah, Westworld didn't grab me.
Okay.
Did it
Well,
grab you?
I don't know. I haven't seen it,
Oh,
but I
that's
was
right.
just saying that's
You'll
the
get
next
to.
kind of fantasy thing that's coming out.
It was
That
supposed to be. Look, I'm such a
fantasy
huge Game of
sci-fi.
Thrones fan,
Hmm.
and it's not.
It's probably more sci-fi than fantasy, though.
And I don't like sci-fi.
Okay.
Star
Well,
Wars.
there that
Star
makes
Wars is
sense.
not sci-fi. I don't like sci-fi.
I don't understand why we have categories that are sci-fi fantasy because sci-fi and fantasy are two very different things
Right.
and they can overlap a little bit.
Sure.
There is a Venn diagram in the middle,
A little bit.
but for the most part they are very different. So
Right.
I don't understand why we lump it together.
I don't either. There's
Someone
laser
needs to
swords.
fix that.
There's laser swords and tricorders, and they're two different things.
All right. So let's get to our next question, which is
Yeah.
what is a film or a scene from a movie that triggers a memory for you? Perhaps it's a painful memory.
I went painful,
Okay.
but here's the thing I'll say. I have a pretty good life. Um,
Hmm.
I have to slow down and admit that now. I grew up low income family, but had a great life. My parents did everything, still together, great support system. No major tragedies, knock on wood, this is wood. Um, so there's nothing that triggers back in that way.
Okay.
And I wanted to go deep in that kind of regard, but I have to be honest and say all the problems I've had in my life are here in this stupid brain of mine.
But
And
that's
and
significant.
it's significant, sure, but it feels like a cheat a little bit. It feels like a
Hmm.
I don't wish, but you know what I mean. Like I saw that scene and I bawled because that reminds me of the time that I was 7 when I fell off the slide. I don't know, Kramer
Hmm.
versus Kramer. I don't know. But here's what I went with. I went with 500 Days of Summer.
Okay.
Tom Tom and Summer on the bench
Hmm.
after he's learned she's getting married, and the whole expectations versus reality scene plays out, and she goes and finds him on the bench, and he's kind of recuperating from the emotional blow. Um, when I saw the reason I chose that is it's the only time in a theater that I've been seeing a movie and whatever was on the screen connected me in a way that I started to sob because it triggered to a flashback of an actual scene and conversation I had in my own life in my mid 20s. Again, all jokes aside of who my online character is, I definitely not good at love, not good at relationships. I don't understand the ways of you women, and that's probably better for you women. Um, but I've also been kind of the stereotypical nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what that scene does, particularly, what it triggered in me, is the nice guy is sometimes the bad guy. And I really, really believe that. And we see ourselves in a certain way, and we're like, well, we're nice guys. Like and I like that girl, and I want to be with that girl. So she should be with me because I'm a nice guy. And then when she
Right.
doesn't want to, it gets convoluted, and I don't like the devaluation of the word friend zone, because it's dismissive of a lot of men's emotional hurt. It's become this thing about sex, and
Mm-hmm.
certainly there are those dudes like, oh, dude, you put you in the friend zone. Those guys are a holes. But to experience that over as I have for 25 years of my life, constantly getting myself into situations, and it's on me, but constantly getting myself into situations where I couldn't get over that hurdle into a relationship with someone I cared about, or in many cases, someone I loved, and having frustrations with that, it isn't just about sex. It's about an
Mm-hmm.
emotional connection with someone that you want to continue to grow and grow to a deeper level that you have a preconceived notion of how that's supposed to be. So, therefore, when it all kind of rolls around in our head, we as the nice guys, the stereotypical nice guys, and I hate that term either. We're just humans. Um, I feel as though we become the bad guy. And that
Mm-hmm.
scene on the bench, 500 Days of Summer, on the bench, where he's just kind of like, I don't get it. You didn't want to be anyone's girlfriend. Now you're someone's wife. You could argue that Summer's kind of the bad character at times in that movie. She does cause
Sure.
pain and confusion, and again, she's a human. She's not a manic pixie dream girl in real life. We're all humans trying to figure it out. But in that moment, she kind of, in her own way, kind of rebukes him and reminds him that, like, you know, you were right. Just it wasn't about me that you were right. And so he goes through this thing where he kind of, there's this hurt and there's this young man's hurt. Now, in my 20s, when this happened to me, when this
Mm-hmm.
actually, I had a conversation on a bench at a Starbucks in Northridge, California. And I had some of this similar conversation where I was kind of told, you're being an a hole. Love you to death, but I don't want to be with you. You're the a hole now in this situation. And then I kind of puffed up my shoulders and got angry about it, kind of what he does in that scene.
Yeah.
Um, at the same time, in that scene, you also find hope in it, where she's like, "Look, you were right. I do believe in all this stuff now. You were right, just not about me." It does kind of also remind me, in the day, that there's hope. And when I had that moment in real life, one of the things this woman told me, like, you're not good at love, you're not good at relationships because you're not jaded yet. You need to kind of put a wall, some scales on your heart. And I was like, I'm not going to change who I am because one day it's going to work for the right person. And I think at the end of
Mm-hmm.
that conversation, he kind of has that moment too, which leads to him at the end of the movie with Minka Kelly's character, what, Autumn.
Autumn.
It's the
Yes.
only part I don't like about the movie. Wink.
Uh,
um, that 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 is a hope too that's still there, because at the end of the
mm-hmm.
day, a nice guy is a nice guy, and he does deserve love.
Right.
We have a tendency to put it into a certain direction, and maybe put our desires, and not just sexual desires, but emotional desires and needs in the form of relationship in front of the woman that we're dealing with. And that makes, to me, again, makes us kind of the bad guy. And I think that scene really, really encapsulates that. And so when I saw the scene, what did that come out in 2008, 9, 500 Days of
Something
Summer?
around there. You know what?
Around that time.
Someone in the chat is going to look it up for us, and I'm going to say thank
Yeah, thank you,
you.
chat room. I was in a relationship. I was
Mm-hmm.
2 or 3 years in deep. That's why I know the time frame of that movie. I was in a relationship with a great girl who I'm still friends with. She's married with a kid
Mm-hmm.
now. Blah blah blah. We're still friends. But I was sitting next to her, and I saw that scene, and I started crying noticeably. Like, we're not talking like I swallowed a piece of popcorn wrong. We're like,
Right.
I was working through some stuff because it had triggered some stuff. And I had to kind of lie to her at the moment, because I couldn't be like, well, there's this woman I loved in my
It's
mid 20s.
dusty.
Yeah, there's this woman I loved in my mid 20s who absolutely destroyed me, but destroyed me in a way that I had to rebuild myself. That kind of probably led to me
Mm-hmm.
being able to have that relationship. Now, years later, I've regressed and probably still need that lesson. But that triggered such a moment, such a big moment for me, where I realized, oh, Wait, all along I've been the a-hole. I've been the bad guy. Help me, doctor. Help
But
me.
wasn't that not the thing though? Wasn't it that you're not the a-hole? You just have to realize that
At the
what
end
it
of it,
was is true.
at the end of it, but he goes through that moment, and he has that moment where he's just like turning off, and his tears are in his eyes, they're welling up, and he's like, oh, you have that, that moment where you realize everything you believed in is bullshit,
Mhm.
and that's when she says, no, 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 you're misinterpreting this. Um, you're right. Continue. You'll find it. You'll get it right. And so there's a lot of hope in that scene, but
Mhm.
there's also some reality that
Right.
just slaps you.
The movie did come out in 2009. Thanks, Mark
Oh,
Tordai.
okay.
Um, I wanted to ask something that
Yeah.
you said that kind of made me think of something else. When you were talking about the friend zone, do you feel like when Harry met Sally is the reason like we have the nomenclature of friend zone?
Yeah, yeah. And when Harry Met Sally is a movie I've seen over 50 times. It's one of my all-time favorite
Hmm.
movies, and unfortunately, I think it lays. It's for a guy like me who doesn't date, is not good at dating. And that's a whole nother show. But I put a lot of hope in that movie because it's like, well, that's how it can work, right? Like you just become friends, and I personally, as the more I become friends with you, I become more comfortable with you, and you start to see the
Hmm.
real me. And I don't feel like I'm on an audition or an interview.
Right.
That's one of the reasons I'm not comfortable with the idea of dating. But yeah, because there's that great scene in the batting cages with Bruno Kirby trying to understand, like, as Billy Crystal's as Harry's talking about, like, oh, I could say what I want to her. We're friends. Like, I feel so great to have this person in my life. And he's just like, I don't. Bruno Kirby's like, I don't get it. Like, I don't get it. Like, you know, uh, you're not sleeping with this woman. I don't get it.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think it's easy to divide it in those
Right.
ways, especially when you're younger, And again, I really get defensive of, I understand the idea of saying, hey, and I think anyone who's hearing me talk understands, I totally respect and understand it's the woman has the right to be like, no, I don't want to be with you. But as to devalue that the idea behind certain types of friend zone, the idea of friend zone
Hmm.
is to devalue the emotional desires and needs of a man. And sometimes we're just simple, stupid creatures who want it all in one nice package.
Right.
And when Harry Met Sally is about having the different packages,
Hmm.
it ends up though in one package, and maybe that provides false hope for a guy like me who just wants to run through New York and say, when you want to spend the rest of your life with someone, you want the rest of your life to start right now.
Right.
That could have caused more problems than maybe I realized looking at that ending.
I did watch that the other day, and I was just looking at like how old they were, and they're so young. Well, she is. She's like 29,
Yes.
and he's like 40.
Yeah.
Like when they went to
Mm.
tape that,
Yeah.
tape that,
Eh,
you
tape it.
know.
Make it. Shoot it.
All right, let's get into our final question, which is what is a
Hmm.
film that helps you through difficult times? Are we going like I'm having a difficult time, I'm going to watch something even more painful, or are we going like I'm in a
we are
difficult time,
we are
I want to watch
not
something good?
we are not going to have the conversation about Shop Girl again.
Okay.
When I'm feeling sad and lonely, I put in Shop Girl to make sure I feel even more sad and lonely.
Okay.
It's a weird problem. We're going the other
It's a good
direction.
movie.
I have two answers for you. Two answers
Okay.
for you.
You can give me both
Can I cheat and
answers.
give you both answers?
Sure.
In that same vein, sad, lonely person that I am, and I am, um, a movie like Shop Girl, even 500 Days of Summer, though it has a happy ending, I can still dive into it and kind of find myself more depressed and liking the additional depression.
Mhm.
If I'm really feeling like I need to be picked up and picked out of that, I put in About a Boy.
Okay. I've never seen it, but I know it's Hugh Grant.
Hugh Grant, and up here is all my Nick Hornby sections. I'm definitely a Nick Hornby
Okay.
guy. And the book About a Boy is I would say a lot different than the movie. It's a period piece, takes place in 1993. The death of Kurt Cobain has a lot to do with the movie or the
Hmm.
book. The character of Ellie, which is the punk rock girl, has a more fleshed out, developed story, and there's more between her and the kid. But About a Boy, when it comes down to the movie, which was a great adaptation, and again, a different take on it, focuses on a guy who at the time in the movie I think is 35, which is now
Mhm.
5 years younger than me, who is alone on an island he certainly dates more and blah 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 than I do, and than I can relate to. But he finds himself on an island, living alone, and kind of prepared to live out his days like that, which I do too. In large part because the character feels he has to because he's not worth anything. He
Mm.
has a lot of money from something his song, a Christmas song his dad wrote, and he's living off that. But he kind of feels he's nothing. So when he meets Rachel Weisz's character, he feels he doesn't have he wants to have something to offer to her, but he can't, and he ends up making it up, making up a connection with the kid, lying about him kind of being his son, and has to and ends up getting hurt for that. But the movie ends with it all kind of working out and everyone's kind of on the same page and happy, but it's also not directly about relationships. It is about friends and support. And
Mhm.
the beginning of the movie, Will is on an island. At the end, he's got an entire group of friends around him. One is now he's romantically involved with, but part of the reason he's now romantically involved with her is he kind of got outside of himself and kind of extended his island and invited people onto
Yeah.
his island, and that's something I need to learn. So when I'm feeling,
Mm.
if I want to put in shop girl and feel real lonely and feel that I am, Ray Porter, the guy who can only show affection through buying things for people and is never going to commit emotionally, I
Yeah.
can go that route and I can feel worse and feel happy about feeling worse, which is another problem. Um,
Yeah. We do that when
we
we're
right.
depressed. Yeah.
Misery loves
Misery
company
loves
and all
company.
that
Yeah,
good stuff.
it does.
I can put in about a boy and connect to the nothingness that that person feels, but knowing that you can get out of it by allowing yourself to connect with other people.
Right.
And that's inspiring in its own way.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting you say that because I thought recently my mom was like, why, have you met people? Are you joining the PTA? I was like, I don't want to meet people.
Yeah,
Like, I have my core group of friends that, I mean, are my friends out of convenience because I live near them and
right,
things like
right,
that.
right.
And I do appreciate them. If I were to move away, would I call them? Probably not.
Probably not.
That doesn't devalue my current relationship with them, though. That's who I am.
Yeah,
I'm like friend in the moment, and so I probably won't call you again
yeah,
when this is all over. I'm just kidding. But but I that's always how I've been, and
right.
I've tried to do situations where I like tried to get into groups
Yeah,
and be part of groups, and I just realized like that's not me. And
right.
why do I force this on myself?
Why do you force it
I
yourself?
don't
But also at the
know.
same time, why can't you allow that?
I
Why
don't
can't you change?
know. I feel like having more friends is more responsibility, and I need less responsibility in life.
But having those personal responsibilities to other people forces you to think about the one thing that hurts you the most, which is thinking about ourselves and getting depression
Yes.
wrapped around ourselves. And my
Uh
mom
huh.
used to say when I was really down and out and feeling my darkest, she'd be like, "Go volunteer at a dog shelter. Go help
Uh
the
huh.
homeless. Volunteer because you're putting the focus on other
Hmm.
things other than yourself."
Right.
As depressive people, and so many people out there are depressive people. Don't be ashamed about it out there. But we it is that circle. It is putting in shop girl going, I want to feel worse. I want to feel
Yeah.
worse. It's a drug. It's the as Rob Reiner says about When Harry Met Sally and the character Harry Burns, depression is a friend. There was
It
some
is a
time
friend.
I got pretty good for a while coming out of therapy where I was a happier person. And
Wait, you come out of therapy?
yeah,
Like just like walking out of the
no, I
door.
ended it after 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
And I came out, I was like generally like, I think I got it.
Uh huh. I'm
Good,
ready.
happy, confident.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally started to miss depression because
Hmm.
it was that comfort and that friend that I needed. So back at you, it might be uncomfortable, might not be who you are, but it might help you to invest in other people's stories and lives.
Well, yes, this is why I'm doing this. You mean outside of this?
Outside of this,
Yeah, I have joined a group, so I'm going to be singing more. That'll
yeah,
be exciting. Haven't done that in a while.
sings. I
I mean, I
karaoke.
sing like on this show,
Oh, you could do
but
some
or not
singing.
this particular show, but
We can sing.
yeah.
I can't, but so that's my first answer. Do I get to answer my second one?
Yes. Please do.
And,
I would like this
so
very
this the
much.
one of the other films I put in when I need to, not I know the first question is more inspiration, but this is about
Hmm.
getting you through hard times, right?
Yes.
Put in Young Guns 2.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
It Young Guns and Young Guns as well, but Young Guns 2 even more taps
Hmm.
into a more it is definitely not that women can't enjoy this movie and find something out of this
They
movie.
can.
They totally can, and I encourage it. Encourage all of you out there, no matter what your gender or preference is, to watch Young Guns and Young Guns 2.
There's definitely eye candy in this movie.
Absolutely. However, for it taps into, for lack of a better term, a more testosterone macho side,
Hmm.
and a but really those are maybe bad words at times, but it is a fellowship of men as friends,
Hmm.
pals, which is the theme of Young Guns. And in Young Guns 2, the theme is that I pull from it more than anything is finishing the game, gathering up your friends, getting through challenges, get through the hard times, and finishing the game. And there's a great scene where Billy the Kid, and he's kind of manipulating his friends all the way through it, but really has this grand vision of being pals and friends. And he talks about, hey, three guys are playing Fantan, and someone comes up to him and says, hey, it's the end of the world. First guy says, well, I should go to the church and pray. Second guy says, well, I should go buy a case of mezcal and six whores. And the third guy says, well, I shall finish the game. And when I am feeling professionally, this is maybe as it relates more to professionally down or professionally challenged, or me and my friend trying to build up a wrestling company, or me and my friends trying to build up a movie show podcast out of a review on a YouTube review channel and trying to take on the world. Often I'll put in like a Young Guns 2 and say, hey, we're going through some challenges right now, but we shall finish the game. We shall finish the game. And a lot of times you'll see me even say or tweet out, regulators mount up, which is from Young Guns 1, but it's about getting your squad, getting your team, and
Hmm.
going on, getting together and facing the world. And so Young Guns 2, as kind of popcorn westerny
Yeah,
as
it's
it
great
is,
though.
has some real value in that. I shall finish
Yeah.
the game.
And Mark Ellis will be tweeting out, I'll make you famous,
I'll
because
make you
that's his
famous.
favorite line from
Yes.
that movie.
Yeah. So yeah,
I
Battle
like it.
Boy, Young Guns 2.
Okay,
Two
which
different
one do you
themes.
watch first if you're going to do a double feature?
I watch probably Battle Boy first,
Hmm.
and then you close the night out with some cowboys shooting it up.
Hmm. Emilio Estevez, Kiefer Sutherland,
Kiefer.
Benjamin Bratt in that?
No, no,
Oh.
no. Lou Diamond Phillips
Oh.
as Chavez E. Chavez. In the first one, Dermot Mulrooney, Casey Zemesco in there as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get Christian Slater as Arkansas Dave Rudabon. The second one pops up. And
Are there any
Balthazar Getty.
females?
Well, not in the crew.
Oh, I mean, just in the movie.
Well, not not as much as we'd want them to be
Okay, sure,
now.
sure. Right. Now is a different
John
time.
Tunstall's wife is not featured primarily in the first one, but goes on to be an important, powerful cattle baron. Yeah, I agree. There needs to be, maybe they have a female cowboy riding around in there now if that movie got made now, and
Hmm.
that'd be great. But at the time, it was what it was.
Hmm.
Bunch of guys finishing the game, mounting up.
How will your game finish?
Good question. Good question.
Hmm.
I am getting to a point in my life where I do want to get the regulators, mount up, and finish what we started professionally. And I'm looking forward to focusing on some of those kind of things and projects. Personally, I don't know. I think I need to watch About a Boy a few more times because
Hmm.
I feel I've regressed in the last couple of years. Came out of some relationships, and I feel more like Ray Porter at the end of Shop Girl
Currently?
currently and for the
Okay.
last 2 years. So I think now I need to watch About a Boy again. Haven't watched it in a while. Maybe I'll do that so I can end
Okay.
up off
That
the
sounds
island.
good. Well, I think that is all for our session today of film therapy. So thank you so much, Ken Napzok,
Oh, thank you.
for being my patient on this session. Where can the rest of the patients find you?
You can find me at Ken Napzok, Napzok. So I spell that last name across all social media platforms, and we can interact and have some fun. We can talk Star Wars. I can anger you with how I didn't like the second Rogue One trailer.
Oh no, don't anger me about that. Um, You can find me in Studio City currently,
Yeah.
and then on Geek and Sundry tonight if you want to
Oh,
check that. Oh wait, no, it's not on Geek and Sundry. It's on Superhero News' channel
great.
because I'll be watching Luke Cage with them.
Oh, you heading over to the boys'
I
place? Yeah.
am,
Yeah,
yes.
great.
Yep,
Great.
gonna be me and Danny Fernandez together, and on Twitter at Miss Movies all day, just saying stupid stuff because
No,
that's what I do.
not at all.
hmm so thank you for joining us today, and we'll see you at our next session of film therapy. So bye,
Goodbye,
bye,
everybody. Goodbye.
bye, 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 bye.